ooh, I'll just mesh with the lobby. I have to, oh my God. Whoa, your asshole's gigantic. This is poggers. But they don't have like a specific place that they can go to, so they either fade out quickly or kind of like.
And so, hello, Murder Crumpet. Here we are with our first episode, or second episode, I guess, because I'm dumb. Of
It's me, I'm Crumpet.
And we here with our brand new set, made from scratch, very custom, better than the Pornhub set we used last time. You know, or you know, we have a budget now.
If
We
you
have a budget.
say so, I think there's something classic about the Pornhub set, personally.
That's what really made Beat was what it was. But hello, Crumpet. Are you excited? Are you ready to answer some tough questions? And
I am excited.
do you think you can handle?
I want to know what kind
questions?
of questions you cooked up.
I mean, some are.
I can handle anything.
I mean, that's the tough part. I asked a lot of people, a lot of your friends, like, "Hey, you have any advice for me?" And they're like, "Crumpet will say anything." I'm like, "Fuck." And
I'm glad that's the impression I've left on them. I don't know if that's good necessarily. It's February. I don't want to say anything.
Anything. All right, Crumpet will say anything. But do you think you'll be able to like focus on these questions with Aeriy and Mango crawling all over you?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. You know, I'm something of a professional, so I'm not worried over much. They can try their best, but I don't think they'll be able to distract me.
Of course. All right. All right. So, but yeah, this is to everyone who, if you do not know who Murder Crumpet is, this is Murder Crumpet. Probably one of the best entertainers out there, genuine person, and just overall content machine. All right. Soon to be like S tier VTuber. We're going to be finally leaving VrChat, full-time variety streamer, Dead Space extraordinaire, the one and only.
Full-time variety streamer? What are you, crazy?
But I know a lot of people.
That one's not necessarily true.
Are here for another reason, the mutes. And so my co-host introduced Aeriy the Neko. Aeriy. Where is Aeriy at?
Yeah! Oh, yeah! What? I'm just excited to have you here.
Hi, Aeriy. Hello, 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 Aeriy. Good to see you. And yes, that's our first little cat of the day. And of course, we always have two. And the second cat is our second guest, Crazy Mango. Mango, come on in.
Let's go! Yeah! Where is she?
Mango? 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 Oh, she's right there!
Cute little kittens.
Yeah, so we, you know,
those are my cats.
This will be level 1, Crumpet. This will be level 1. Are you ready to take your first bite of the roleplay wing we'll be biting out of together?
I'm ready. Hit me up.
All right, so we'll start. Take your first bite. Level 1 starts now. So we'll start with the most basic question of all. Start us off with you, Murder Crumpet. Where did the name come from? Why the name Murder Crumpet?
Well, I'm glad you asked. My name... Hey, my name came from... My name came... My name came from a random generator, actually. I was looking for something to represent me, because I didn't know what. I just got into VrChat, and I didn't really have, like, a identity. Sorry. So I was thinking... Oh, cute. So I was thinking to myself, what could I do to kind of like have a name that I want to represent? Now, up until that point, I'd had quite a few different like little gaming monikers. Hi. And they were...
Mm-hmm. Crumpet, focus up. Crumpet.
They were, they were... Oh, man.
We're on level 1.
Much harder than I thought. Yeah, it's tough. They're so cute. Well... My first username was just my name and my initials, so not very good.
Mm-hmm.
So it was like Bartholomew, like DM or whatever my initials are, or Alfonso JD or what the fuck ever. But the I wanted something different. So when I got Xbox Live, I switched, and my name was Malicious Rose, and that worked well because a lot of guys in Halo wanted to ERP with me because they thought it was such a girly name. And then.
Mm-hmm.
After that, I wanted to switch it up again, so I switched to Rose Q09, and that was also a mistake because that was even more girly. Huge mistake. So then I wanted to go less girly because the Halo ERP wasn't hitting the same way anymore, and I thought to myself, now And now, cute. I'll have another name. So I went to a random generator and I let Xbox Live just generate it, and I got Smiling Hysteria, and I thought that was really fun. And then I ran with that for the longest time. Then I discovered Twitch and started getting into that. And this is when I was like, oh fuck, I need something to represent me in Twitch chat. And so I decided I was gonna have my name be MC Biscuit because it was like a play on the word biscuit, and I like biscuits. And it was Bisquit because I always quit whenever I tried to freestyle rap. So my username, I typed I think once or twice ever, was MC Biscuit. I was like,
if
fuck,
it's Crumpet
MC,
too loud or
'cause
too
I'm
low, let me know.
Because I'm a rapper, clearly. And then I was like, oh, well, this name fucking sucks, actually. But I thought, MC, what can I use with MC? And then I was like, okay, you know what? How about Murder Crumpet? And so that's what I made my name. So it was a long progression of shitty names up until I found something. And the only reason I settled on Murder Crumpet was because it's a combination of words that I've never heard before. And I don't think there was ever a Murder Crumpet before me. So I'm the only Murder Crumpet that's ever existed.
All right.
And I like that.
That's a good lore story for you. That's a good lore story for you. All right. So
It's true.
all right, this is probably a question you get all the time too. So what got you into VrChat, Crumpet? What really brought you into this game and like kept you, you know, like what got you here?
Okay. I think what initially got me into VrChat was the first time I ever saw anything on VrChat. The first time I ever saw anything on VrChat was when I watched a Neanners video. It was a live stream VOD of her playing VrChat on YouTube. And I thought to myself, oh shit, this girl who makes like 4chan song parodies in a funny little rapper voice, who I occasionally watched for those specifically, she's playing this game that I've never seen before, and it looks really cool. But I thought nothing of it and moved on with my life. And then, because of the YouTube algorithm, I saw Joey Bagel's Nags videos where it was like, oh my god, this lolly's trying to kill me in VR. And I was like, okay, what's this? This is that game Neanners played? So I clicked on that video and I watched Nags. And he was like, he had this whole big friend group of all these people in VR. And there were anime girls and they were going to different worlds and just talking to each other. And I was like, whoa, what the fuck? And there was some kind of magic to it that I really liked, and it was like really intense. So I watched all of his videos, the whole series.
And did you like what was it about it like kept you in VrChat? Like what keeps you going?
Oh, well, it was Chips and Nuts, that whole arc when that happened, because I found Nuts to be the like best character ever. I thought she was so entertaining, and after seeing her, I was thinking to myself, oh shit, this is awesome. This like romance drama RP, Chips, Nuts, and Rob was there as well. Now, Chips was my main like thing that I'd watch. I'd watch Chips, but I got annoyed because he can't ever close the deal because he's a perpetual edger. So he would always like get right to the point of something almost happening, and Nuts would be like, God, please, I need you now. And then I get annoyed because he never goes for it, and I could only take the cuck RP for so long. So then I decided to move on to Rob, who had his whole little group kind of developing by that stage after Chips and Nuts had been married. And then I just started watching him, and I watched him for a while until one day he was like, right after the Great Schism happened and he annihilated a bunch of people from his lobby, the old boys like Team 6 and stuff. I was like, oh man, shit. Yeah. He's asking for people to come join the lobby from chat. He's like, hey, we're gonna pull from my viewers. And he had like 300 viewers at the time, right? Like that was his maximum back then. And I was like, okay, well, I'm one of those. And so I got in full body VR, which I'd already had for a while because I liked VrChat and had been playing it in my own time. And I just joined off him. And then I was like, okay, I'll see if this works. And I passed my little tryout, and then I became a part of the lobby. Oh. And the rest just kind of followed. All
right. So here's our little final question for this level. It's a little easier level for you. So what got you to like streaming? What made you want to be a little streamer?
That was the guy that threatened to blow up the White House. That guy got me into streaming, actually. He was the first person to stream in our community, and I'd follow him around while he like streamed Publix in VR, because at that point he was I can't see. He would do little public hops, right? And I love to follow people when they stream public hopping. I used to follow Mute Max when he streamed public hops. I used to follow Klaatu, or sorry, He Who Shall Not Be Named, when he streamed public hops, and I would follow them around and I'd try and like, I don't know, contribute or make something funny happen or get in fights with people. And one day he was like, yo, you're really funny when you're like with me doing this. You should do it too. And I thought to myself, okay, I'll give it a shot. And I remember the first time I ever streamed, I streamed in 934p, and I didn't understand how OBS worked. So it was 934p with with big black boxes cinematically on the top and bottom. So it was like a widescreen picture film. And then I walked around a beach and freestyle rap battled sci-fi like 6 times, and then pushed Vincent off a cliff. And that was my first stream. And I streamed for like an hour and a half. And that was in January 21st, 2020, I think, or 2021. Maybe 2020. Yeah, I think 2020 actually. That was my first ever stream, and from then on, I was a streamer.
Man, that's crazy. That's really cool. All right, Crumpet.
Cute cat.
So, this is just level 1, but we're about to move on to level 2. All right, level 2 of the heat. Are you ready for level 2, Crumpet?
Yeah, whatever you say.
All right, so we're gonna artificially take a little bite of level 2. All right, you ready to take that big bite and plunge right in? Crumpet,
What?
Crumpet, right here. Look at me. Right here. Focus up.
Yeah, I'm ready. I'm ready.
All right,
what
you
are we
ready to
doing?
We're taking that second bite, that second artificial bite of that mute wing for that second flavor. All right, ready? 1, 2, 3.
Okay.
Bite. Arc. All right, so we're gonna go right into it, Crumpet. This is level 2. Level 2. All right. So we've talked about it before. How do you feel about the statement VrChat gay?
VrChat gay. That's when someone, some motherfucker, some dude gets into VrChat and he goes down the pipeline where he starts as a little meme avatar and hangs out with his friends being a Knuckles or whatever. And then he becomes an e-boy in like VR, and he'll walk around and he'll meme a bit, but then he gets full body and he laid out listening to music. And then eventually, he becomes an anime girl because they're more fun to look at in a mirror. And it's also so nice to explore your sexuality in VR. And then the next thing you know, he's like, well, I guess I can jerk off with my homies. It's not a big deal, it's not a huge deal. It's just fun. And they're like, well, he may sound like a guy, but if his mic's muted, it's not a big deal. And then, he goes, well, I don't even care about the voice. You're just so hot because you move like such a sexy lady. And then after that, he's just VrChat gay. But the problem is with VrChat gay is they're not real gay, because if they ever meet up with their little compatriot friends who fuck them all the time, then they're like, oh shit, you look like a human male. I'm not attracted to human males. What the fuck? So I don't particularly like it because it makes it impossible for real gays like me to find guys who are interested. Because I suffer from Midwestern gay / female voice like protocol. So whenever I talk, people think I'm a girl. I know. I'm like June Bead. And as a result of that, I can like pull pretty decently. I think a guy probably would fuck me, at least based on those tier lists that I've seen people being put out recently from our lobby. And the problem with that is I don't look like that IRL. I'm not a redheaded anime girl. I'm like a Steve Jobs post-mortem, like cancerous corpse walking, I'm like Asmongold's weirder looking stunt double. I look like Igor, like crawling from 300 all around, trying to make my way into the Spartan ranks. I am like a facehugger clawed freakazoid. Hi.
All right.
So it's tough to... Maximilian dude left out in a desert for 6 months. Emaciated.
All right. I know VrChat has like a good place where people can like kind of find a sexuality, but like I know there's a good amount of people who, claim to be, the VrChat gay, and or people claim to be completely straight, but will do stuff with all their homies as long as the mic is muted. It's fine.
Everyone's bi until they meet him IRL with VrChat gay, dude. It's such a shitty term because it means that like. There's no like, once you meet them IRL, it's like, oh, well, this isn't going to work, so it's sad. It's sad in a way.
And we're going to transition from that right into another one, right in the same topic. So, did your opinion of anyone change after meeting them at TwitchCon?
Yeah. Sci-fi, that motherfucker. I met him and I was so excited, and we caught each other on the sidewalk, and I could feel like the miasma as something moved towards me, some kind of cloud of stank And I was like, what the hell? What is this like strange green cloud moving in a big box pattern directly towards me from the side of the convention center? And I saw in the center of it this little waddling man, frog person. And I thought, oh, that's what that smell is. And it was sci-fi. And I was like, oh, poggers. I'll get to talk to him. And then we said like 5 words to each other and didn't see each other for the rest of the con. That guy was like almost my gay lover at one point. What the hell happened, frog man? Come back to me. But other than that, I don't think my opinions changed over much of anyone. Everyone's very one-to-one in IRL as they are in VR. Everybody I met at TwitchCon was pretty much identical personality-wise. Some of the mutes were somehow shyer, but I guess that makes sense. Like, it's okay to be shy when you're super hot. So it's like they were just super hot, but well, they were shy, but just like human beings over in the corner still. Jufa was weird. They kept playing like Mongolian throat singing from the top of the second bunk in one of the rooms for hours. And they like, I don't know, push Sora around or like kick him in the back of the knee whenever they walked around.
Yeah.
And that was pretty cool too.
All right. So, what are your current feelings about the current like state of the lobby? Like, how do you feel like how the lobby is doing right now?
Interesting. Oh my god. That's an interesting question. I think the lobby is, how do I say it? Aeriy! It's just in my face. Your pussy's on my nose. I'm getting slime trailed. The lobby is, I think, more funny than it's ever been, definitely. I think there's a lot of like high tier, like very funny content people, but I also think it's a little disjointed more than it's ever been at the same time. Like the sense of like super close, everyone knows each other and is friends with each other, like community level, and maybe this is just nostalgia talking, I think is separated more into individual, smaller like groups of friends that all work together under a common umbrella. So like you'll have different groups, right? Like you got Aika's group, there's like Kyo's late night group, there's like my Crumpet daytime crew, there's like the lobby crew, there's Rob's like off-stream hangout crew. So there's a lot more like definitive lines between individual groups of people within the lobby, and they kind of fall into where they may, like people come in and then they divert down whatever path is kind of the one where they mix the most. And as a result of that, I think a lot of people who are new tend to either get left in the wind where they don't know which path to take, and they don't have like necessarily like an easy like, ooh, I'll just mesh with the lobby. Oh my god. Whoa, your asshole's gigantic. This is poggers. But they don't have like a specific place that they can go to, so they either fade out quickly or kind of like find themselves wondering for their position. Although that's also not uncommon. The number one thing that people always tell me when they're in the lobby is like, oh, I always feel like I'm kind of wandering and not contributing, and I don't know where to go or what to do, and I don't know if anyone likes me. But that's just because they're all socially awkward VrChat players.
Of course.
So there's no way to like realistically help with that. Everybody tells me that. I think it's just it's a little more disjointed, although a lot more content. So I don't know if that's better or worse, but that's just how I see it.
All right, yeah. All right, so here's our last question for this level 2. So this is a fun one. What's one of your favorite moments, like RPing? Either as a character or RPing with someone, what's one of your favorite like RP moments?
One of my favorite RP moments. Okay, let me think for a sec. I'd probably have to say there was this one time where my friend, he convinced everybody that he hadn't masturbated on stream. Like he'd been just telling everybody that I didn't get banned because I masturbated. It was because I was eating a chili dog, and he was very insistent. And so a lot of people believe him, even though like I know, because I was live watching it, even though the VOD's gone, that he definitely like fully masturbated on stream. And I just thought it was really good RP because he kept such a straight face and was like, no, that's not what I did. I didn't just jerk off into a solo cup on my grandmother's couch. And I thought that was pretty cool. I don't know how he managed to convince so many people. It's like some of the greatest RP convincing I've ever seen.
Of course.
Besides that, I guess like my greatest RP moment. Oh my gosh. I don't know. I guess I'm always like in such a flurry. I can't think of anything particular that stands out to me with like, I feel like I'm finding Dory, right? Like everything I do immediately fades from my brain after I do it. Like I just don't remember anything. So it's a little bit of a blur. I don't know if I've had any like moments that are my favorite. Whenever I RP, I always think to myself, I could have done this better. I could have done this better. This would have made this better. So I guess I'm just always like overly critical, and then I don't really think of any moment as being particularly like pop
What about
off.
moments you've like
There's
done with
stuff that
anyone
was
else? Like a moment you've had with someone else, like a performance you shared with another person that you thought was just like stood out to you for a long time.
I guess there's a couple of those. I remember the first time Shrimp and I became friends was because he made a joke about a woman being unable to break through the glass ceiling in the original bar because the ceiling was made of glass. And we were talking to some girl and she was like trying to go to space or something. And he made a joke like, well, I don't think you're ever going to do it. You're just not able to get through the glass ceiling. And I thought that was the funniest shit in the world. And then he friended me right after because I laughed at his joke. And I was like, oh, thanks, Shrimp. I thought that was like such a clever play on words. As for like, I mean, I have a lot of RP moments with these two. Like whenever Aeriy confuses my chat because she's like a clone. I remember the first time she was in the mirror, but not IRL, like, or IRL, but like next to me in VR. So people could see her in the mirror, but not next to me. And I was like looking for her and I kept seeing her in the mirror, but I'm blind. So I kept missing it. And my chat was like, what the fuck? Why is she in the mirror? That was really cool. With Mango. Still cat. Probably some of Mango's RP characters that aren't like the super sexy ones really stand out to me. Like she's really good at doing horror RP because she has a good frame of reference. In fact, both of them do. Like her mannequin RP or even Reb was really funny once upon a time. You don't do as many comedic characters because people just want to watch you be a Coomer, but I do like the comedy characters a lot. I know, it's so fucked up. But those two, like these, I think anything that's super well received by chat is usually my favorite RP moment when I'm working with someone. Like all I want to do is like farm a megalols, and something that I think a lot of people don't necessarily do is they go in with the intention of having fun, and that's so wrong. It's not about having fun. It's about putting on the best possible show, and that's the most fun. So stop trying to have fun yourself and start making sure that the show is fun for the viewer, because the only thing that matters is the viewer's experience. And the more fun you have, if that costs the viewers fun, then you're doing it wrong. The only thing that matters is that the viewer has the most fun possible. And that's why I am teamed up with these two, because all three of us understand that the only thing that matters is the viewer's experience.
Oh yeah, of course, I understand that completely. All right, so that was level 2. You ready for level 3, Crumpet? You ready for that bite for level 3?
Yeah, I'm ready.
All right, so this is level 3, getting a little hotter, a little bit more spicy.
In the couch.
All right, so you ready to take that bite, Crumpet? You ready? On 3, 1, 2, 3, big bite.
Yeah, I'm ready.
Arr. Big bite, level 3. All right, we're gonna go right into it, Crumpet. All right, so you hang out with a lot of people on your stream. You do a lot of adventures and stuff like that. All right, so you have a lot of regulars on your stream. If you had to rank them, excluding your mutes, not counting Aeriy and Mango, how would you rank them on the content they bring you, on the regulars that hang out on your stream?
Ooh, how would I rank my regulars? Ooh, that's a tough one. I'd probably rank my... Oh no, she's gonna lose all her clothes in the couch. Well, I think Vincent is probably top tier. The only time Vincent does something annoying, like he's otherwise incredibly funny. I think I've shaped him like the fucking sword of a seal door straight out of Lord of the Rings, bro. He's like the perfectly forged sword, perfectly balanced over time and like many combat, that he's become this like wieldable weapon if I just use it correctly. That's perfectly funny in every way. And he's much less annoying than he used to be. Not to say I don't yell at him just as much. But I think the only thing annoying Vincent does, the only detractor from him being like S+, is sometimes he's so genuine, he'll just say exactly what's on his mind. And sometimes I'm like, oh, shut up, you fucking idiot. Like sometimes he's too genuine, and the things you're not supposed to say out loud, like things that are behind the curtain kind of stuff, where it's like, oh my gosh. Where it's like, anyway, there was...
So
after that, I don't know. I think probably the second most content person is maybe Naomi is pretty cool, I guess. Naomi is like good content. She has a really pretty voice, and she gets angry too often, and people can't tell when she's joking. But that's not necessarily the worst thing. She just needs to be able to have that voice where it's like, I need to clearly indicate via /essing, I guess, so that I'm joking. So that's the only detractor on her. Flex is very fun too. Flex is good content when she's not pissing me off. Good Coomer, solid, funny. Too loud sometimes because her mic peaks. But that's the only things Flexa does that annoys me is she gets too loud sometimes because she'll start screaming and making noises. And that's the Kyo side of her, because as we know, she stole Kyo's model as a skunk girl. And then the alternative was she can be a little negative sometimes. But otherwise, she's like pretty up there. Her and Yomi are probably like A+. Vincent, then those two, then I don't know, the little mute crew that I've been hanging out with recently with, there's like a whole little gaggle of daytime mutes who hang out, like the Fuzziest and Kiki Yuri and all of them. They're always really fun. They're like, oh god, like good Coomer bait. Always nice to have
No time for kissing, okay?
Oh my gosh, hello.
Crumpet, focus up, focus up.
What? They're my girls. I don't know who else hangs out with me on the regular.
It's your stream.
I don't know. I'm the funniest, and I coordinate everybody else to be funny because I'm the perfect vehicle to help them shine. I'm basically a spotlight, and I know exactly what part of them is interesting, so I force them to do that part over and over until they're trained to perform the way I want them to. And that's been my general way of doing things for forever. And that's why I even think Axeman is funny, because I can make a lot of jokes about Axeman, and he actually is even good at some things. You just have to know how to use him correctly. Yeah, Boob's funny. Oh, Vor is really good.
Yeah.
I stole that one from your chat. Sorry, I forgot who was existing in my stream because I'm looking at these two. Oh yeah, Vor is like insanely funny, top tier S+ content. Always a good time.
Well, but is there anyone that shows up on your
Fair
stream
are
that
pretty
like
cool.
you feel like brings it down, or is
Let me think
anti-content,
about
as
that.
some would say?
Well, I think everyone has the potential to be anti-content depending on their mood. Like, FFB has definitely killed my mood and been anti-content, but that's only because we have a long history. But we're working that through, and we've been doing a lot better recently. So that's been good. It's not just a matter of turning something that could be anti-content into content. I've had instances where I've been like super into Mango or Aeriy, and then they're like, oh, I gotta go do something, and then I'll stop the stream to like ask them where they're going or if they're okay, and that definitely slows things down, but that's just a me thing. So that's when I'm anti-content, because I'm just a little too obsessive sometimes. What else is there? Vincent usually isn't ever anti-content. The only time Vincent's ever anti-content is if he starts yawning because he's bored, or starts yelling at me to take me to a different world like a little kid in the grocery store because he wants to go home and play Skyrim and I'm his mother. It's like literally dealing with a child, but that's kind of funny in and of itself.
All right.
I'm trying to think of anyone else who's like really brought me down. Oh, something that always puts me in a bad mood is when someone is super contrarian with me just for the point of being so, and I can handle that for a degree. Oh my god, when Vor does that with me, I just want to wring his little pickle neck. I want to grab him and snap him like the fucking dildo he is, because I'll always play devil's advocate if we start talking about something genuine, because I don't think a stream should be a place for like real feelings. Otherwise, my viewers will get too into it, right? They'll be like, oh my god, I relate so much to your genuine feelings and your ideas and opinions. And I don't want people to do that. I just want them to come and watch a funny show. So whenever someone gets like too genuine, like FFB or Vor, someone like, they'll say something that's like very obvious and genuine and good, and I'll immediately disagree and try to make a joke of it. And so that creates some friction sometimes, because my friends they don't necessarily have that same outlook of, I just want to make everything a joke no matter what. And sometimes I want to be genuine, and I say, fuck you, I don't want to be genuine at all. And then I'll yell at them and make a bunch of jokes that are contrarian to their point, and oftentimes really negative. And sometimes I wonder maybe if that's the wrong maneuver, because I don't necessarily want to make my viewers think I'm actually like a cold-hearted bastard, you know? But I also don't want to take anything serious ever. So whenever like a serious topic comes up, I try to pivot away from it as fast as possible, because I'm just a slice of life comedy show. I'm not really a drama too much.
There's a time and place for things. All right. So here's a pretty fun one. All right. So what's a moment from one of the meetups that like stick with you? Like, I know you went to TwitchCon recently. Is there any meetups or people that you met that like really stuck out to you?
Jesus Christ. You girls are wild, and oh my god. I think Well, I've already talked about this story a bunch, but I can say it again just because it's probably the most defining moment I've ever had in an IRL meetup. There are two, actually. One at TwitchCon with Aeriy and one at Anime Expo with Mango. And those are probably the two most defining moments that I've had at a con experience. Actually, there are three. There's three big moments that I remember that are like big defining moments for me. At Anime Expo, when I went with Mikasa over here, the last day, we were leaving, and me and Mango, Aika is a psychopath and took us to the airport at like 7 hours before our flights were leaving because she's crazy. But me and Mango ended up totally alone in the international LA airport because for some reason Aika wanted us to walk the farthest possible direction from our gates. So we walked like 1.5 miles to the international airport of LA. And she set us up in a pizza place that wasn't going to open that day. She was like, oh shit, sorry. I didn't realize that the entire place was basically closed. Because she tried to take us there since it was supposedly the best place. But, oh my God. But, she, Jesus fucking Christ. Dude, it's like a fish fiesta over here. It's like a sushi soiree, a full-on buffet of nothing but fish.
This is just level 3.
Goddamn.
So we still got like 2 more levels after this, so.
Jesus Christ. But I remember we were at this airport and we were watching Rocky on the big screen and we were just sitting together because there's literally nothing to do. Everywhere is closed and we're just surrounded by people who don't even speak English. So we're just sitting there together under our coats watching Rocky on this little TV monitor, and we just talked for like hours and hours and hours, and it was really, really nice. And eventually the time for our flights came, so we went through security, but we both had different companies that we were flying with. I think I was like Southwest and she was like United or something like that. Doesn't matter. But we were on opposite sides of the security checkpoint. So we were like, okay, I'll see you on the other side. Like, not just casual, like, oh, we'll just meet up on the other side. Not a big deal. But when we made it through the security checkpoints, I got a text from Mango and she goes, I don't think that we're going to be able to meet up because we're like, so like, I don't think these meet up together. Like we're on totally different sides of the airport. And I was like, oh my God, the only reason I went to Anime Expo was to spend time with you, and now I don't even get to say goodbye? What the fuck? And that really sucked, and so I cried. I like broke down crying, and I walked all the way to my gate, and I was at like gate 80 on the farthest part of the airport, and I'm sitting there crying to myself because I didn't get to say goodbye to Mango, who's the only reason I even went to the con. And then I got a text from her, and she's like, I'm coming. And I'm sitting there waiting, like waiting to board, and it's like the time is ticking down until I gotta get on the plane, and it's like 10 minutes before, and I'm sitting there like, oh no. And then like she shows up and she's covered in sweat and she has like a little Oreo mocha frappuccino latte or something, and she's like, I made it. And she sits down and grabs me and she's super sweaty, and I'm just like, oh my God, my girl. And she made it, and we were like, I don't know, it's kind of like a movie where like we met up right before I boarded the plane and I got to say goodbye. It was a really heartfelt goodbye, and I got to sip on her little latte. And then I was sitting on my plane after I boarded, and she sent me a picture from the airport gate through the window, and it said, it was a picture of where she thought I was on the plane, which was really accurate. And she said, I'll see you soon, I'm looking right at you. And I was like, oh my God, that was like, holy shit, wow. And then I sent one back and I said, I'm looking back at you too. And then I took off and I was like really emotional. I was like so done for, dude. I was crying the whole way home, and then I fell asleep within 5 minutes because I can't stay awake on planes. But the next moment that is most defining for me was TwitchCon. I actually was having a terrible time at TwitchCon. I wasn't going to stay. I got there the day of. The first day, like, sucked omega dick, and I just wanted to leave by the end. So I'm sitting there after spending $3,000 on a hotel room because it's the only one left in the entirety of, like, San Diego, right? It's like literally the only room I could get. Like, there was nowhere else, and it was really expensive because I can't share a room with people, and I was under the impression I had my own room in the Airbnb, but I didn't. So I ditched, and I was like, fuck this, I'm not going to share a room with people. I can't. It's just like something I can't do. It's like a hard line for me. And I was sitting there laying in bed of this hotel room that I just paid an enormous amount of money for, and I was thinking to myself, this fucking sucks. I'm gonna book a plane and go home tomorrow. And then I got a DM from Aeriy, and she's like, how was your day? And I go, shit, garbage. And I explain it to her, and she's like, well, that sucks, but maybe you should stay. You know, it could get better. This could be a like experience that you won't be able to have again for a while, and you know, maybe he can just talk to me. And I was like, oh, okay, well, I'll do that. And we talked to each other for probably, I don't know, an hour or two just in DMs. And she, I don't know, she said some really sweet things to me. And some of them are secret and private, and I want to keep them private because they're just between us. And some of the stuff she said to me was like really encouraging, and also like, I don't know, it just hit me in like the right place. And I was like, wow, this is like insanely sweet and something that I never expected. And I guess I'll try and stick it out for you. And I ended up staying because of her. And it actually turned out to be a really, really fun trip, and I don't regret it at all.
Oh, yeah.
So Aerie's the only reason that people saw me at TwitchCon.
Thank you.
And
Aeriy.
those are two memories of mine for these two girls
Yeah.
that definitely made me have a much better time. I guess I had one more memory. I signed something for the first time ever at TwitchCon 2, and that shit was so pog. Oh my god. I remember Turtwig and Jacob walked up to me holding hands, and Turtwig was like 4'0", and then Jacob is like standing there with his baseball cap and his like I hunt fish not women shirt, and then they were holding hands and they walked up and they were so shy, and Turtwig looks like a regular functioning adult, but I know he isn't. And he was like, oh my god, Crumpet, would you sign my plushie? And I was giving out a bunch of free plushies, so I had given him this plushie, and he was like, please sign it, Crumpet, I need this, please, God. And so I signed his little plushie, and I realized I don't know how to sign things. My signature's ugly as fuck. Like, I have facehugger claws and terrible calligraphy. You want me to sign your boobs? Okay. I immediately fucked it up and started signing my real name. I'm so sorry. I was signing 401k checks today because I wanted to like try and build a portfolio. So I was signing my real name. I wasn't used to, okay, whatever. The point is, that was really funny. And that's the first time I signed something and like had people IRL who were fans of me. And I was like, whoa, what the hell? This is a really weird and exciting experience. So that was another defining moment for like a meetup.
Cute.
And I guess meeting all my friends was cool, but they were all the same as in VrChat. And I can, dude, oh my God, that's something that happens all the time. My friends will be like, I want to go to an IRL meetup. I'm so sad. Post-con depression. Boo-hoo. But I guess, I don't know. It's just like so similar to VR. Like I don't even see much of a difference. Like it's definitely fun and different, but I don't feel like it's different enough that I get sad about it because I'm like, oh, I'll just see when I get home. But maybe I'm just terminally online, and I consider my online interactions just as important as the in-person ones.
Well, I think VrChat has a very like compared to like if you play like Call of Duty with someone all the time, that's just like over voice and just playing games with each other. But VrChat has a thing where you're literally socializing, sitting, talking, eating, and just being with someone at all times. And when it goes to real life, it's almost one-to-one. It's just you look a little bit different. So, all right. So that'll be the last question for this round. Okay, last question for this round. All right.
You pussy.
All right. So this is a little bit of a serious one. I'm very curious about your mindset of this. All jokes aside, Crumpet, how is it to be like a gay man in this like work and streaming environment?
Well, luckily enough, VrChat's super open about everything, and most people mistake me for a girl anyway, so that's nice treatment for the most part. But it's the same thing that probably anyone who's like LGBT or whatever gets. Like, there's occasionally someone who'll come into your chat and call you a slur, and you know, sometimes you'll wake up and your car will have like funny ass guy abbreviated in the side mirror, like, you know, regular stuff like that. But for the most part, it's not that bad. I think I can handle anyone who's like just some random who comes in and is like, oh my God, fuck you, you're gay, lamau. Or there is this one guy who's been sending me an email, I think at least twice a month for probably over a year now. And he'll send me an email and it's always, he tricks me because he'll title it like business opportunity or sponsorship opportunity. And I'll click on the email and it's just some like Photoshop together like page that says like God hates F words or whatever,
oh
or like
God.
I hope you die, go to hell, like all that stuff, like gays go die, all that junk. And he'll always get me because he keeps titling it different things, and I'll click on it like, oh, what's this? And it's just some like colorful rainbow image that says like God hates gays, and I'm like, oh my God, he got me again. And I keep blocking him, but he just makes a new account and he'll email me again. But that's one thing, but people get harassment for a million different reasons. Like they could play Hogwarts Legacy or something, and that's probably way worse than what I get as a gay person online. And for like Twitch chat, I guess that's like mostly fine. They just get banned. I don't even see it most of the time. My mods are pretty good. And you know, in VrChat, you'll get stuff where some dude will walk up and like be super aggro and be like, oh, you're fucking gay, you sound gay, why are you gay, fuck you. And I'll be like, that's fun, because then I get to fight, and I'm a very fighty person, so I like to like. Also, whenever that happens, it's not a bother because I know that my chat's behind me. So it's like, oh, it's me plus 2,000 people against this one particular like bigoted guy. Not a big deal. I can just like rip with them until they say a slur and block them, right? But the only times I think I've really had a big issue being like a gay man in this environment is the biggest thing ever was, I even tweeted about this because it bothered me so much. There was this joke going around that got like perpetuated quite a bit of like, oh my God, Crumpet, you're so successful because you're gay and everyone in VrChat's gay, so they all like you so much. And it's like, well, that's one thing that does get me. The idea that like any level of success is related to your sexuality and not who you are, what you do, you know, that's like, because it detracts, right? Like the implication is if you weren't gay, you wouldn't be successful. So it's like, that's like if you went up to someone who is black and it's like, you're successful because you're black. Like everyone would say,
for the
wow,
hard
that's
work
fucked.
you've actually put in and stuff like that.
Yeah, it kind of detracts from your work, right? Like, I know you're not going to go up to a white guy and say like, oh, well, you're successful because you're white or whatever, or you're successful because you're a woman, or you're successful because you're a man. And I guess you could say those things, and maybe in some cases they're even true, but no matter who's saying it for whatever reason, it's always detractful from the work the person puts in. So that's very insulting. That's the only one that's like really gotten to me. I wonder if there's anything else. I think for the most part, it's kind of nice. It's nice to be gay just in the sense that I don't have to jerk off before I play VrChat, which is nice. All I got to do is occasionally force myself to look at a couple women's asses. My chat's like, awooga booba, wow, oh my God, no way, anime girls. And that's good too, because I'm not polluted by the idea of wanting to fuck them. So it's easier to frame things in a way. Like, I wonder if porn directors masturbate before they direct so they can focus on what looks good instead of getting horny, right? Like, yeah, I'm super clear-headed for it. So I think I get good angles of what's sexy. So I think that is good because VrChat's a very sexually charged area. So that's a plus point for that. There's one other thing I wanted to say, but I was looking at Aeriy, and when I started patting her head, I forgot what it was.
Of course, that happens. That happens. All right, so you ready for level 4, Crumpet? You guys ready for level 4?
Sure, hit me with that. Level 4. I'm down.
All right, you ready to take that big bite, Crumpet? Level 4, a little bit of heat, a little bit hotter.
I'm ready. Hit me with it.
Take that big bite. Oh. All right, so we're gonna go right into it. Who are some of your favorite people to roleplay with in the lobby?
Well, obviously it's these two. I love role-playing with them more than anybody. I think, ironically enough, me and Kyo have insane synergy, which is really funny because I think they're such a fucking idiot. But outside of my personal feelings that I hate them and they're stupid, I think they're really, really good to play off of, and we have a really good chemistry. So that tends to work well. Me and Rob obviously play off each other super well. I'm quippy and I understand all the jokes he makes, so I can play off them when he implies he wants something done, which works. There's a few other people. Recently, I'd say like Lazzie, Turtwig, Sora, all three of them are pretty good to roleplay with. They play off things fairly decently. There's a good back and forth. I never feel bored during our conversations, which is nice because I get bored easy. Oh my gosh, you fucking two creatures, Jesus Christ. Yeah, there's others. Vincent's always fun. Vincent's like, I can kind of like corral Vincent, but I wouldn't say he's more just like a funny conversationalist because he's so dumb. But I don't know, I mix well with idiots. I think it's like a pinky in the brain thing.
Yeah.
Because then I can like highlight some people, like, I don't know, it works really well in a streamed atmosphere when you can highlight something stupid. And I think I'm really good at like bringing attention to things. For example, like the Turtwig tiny ball meme, or the Turtwig bagel meme, or like a lot of Kyo's little euphemisms such as it's Amu time. Like, that's all stuff that I think would have gotten lost in like Twitch chat, or just like as a one-off joke if I hadn't like really doubled down on it. Or like the mommy Kyo stuff, like I super like reinforce it. I guess I'm like an amplifier of an already funny joke, so I can take things and really meme them. And I think that's really good chemistry, and it works well with people who say funny stuff but oftentimes like say so much or it could just get lost. And I think I'm good at curating and picking out funny things to say to people.
So while you're a little bit distracted, I should go right into it. Following that one up, so you roleplay with a lot of people in the lobby. You're very versatile. Who are some of the people you're least likely, like you just don't like RPing with them? Like, this is you are doing the scene with them, you're like, oh, this is gonna suck.
Oh hey, that's me. Oh my gosh, people I don't like RPing with?
Yep. Like you're doing a scene with him, you know this is not going to be that fun. Because some people just don't have the compatibility. Sometimes it just doesn't work out.
That is a little spicy. Oh my gosh. I don't know if there's anyone I couldn't potentially make something fun with. Although I've definitely had occasions where something's been like annoying. Let's see. I think the only time. Fuck! Wow, this really is difficult to concentrate on. My little cats are really getting it on. Jesus
They're
Christ.
very cute. They're very cute.
Yeah, I wouldn't say cute. Maybe like supremely hot. Definitely. Oh my gosh, Jesus. Hey, Jesus. It's like sound waves. I'm like cheeks are being blown back by the sound wave force of the slaps.
Because there has to be some people you probably don't have like the best synergy with or anything like that, or you just like like you do a scene with them and it kind of just like
synergy with,
and it just doesn't like do as well, or or people you think it just don't have what it takes to like they're fun people but they just don't have that RP chops kind of thing.
I guess I've always had the feeling that anyone can be content. It's just a matter of finding what the funny part about them is. I think some people have less content overall, but there's always some golden nugget when you sift through all the shit. Like, I think Axeman's a good example. I think Axeman's on the whole easy to make fun of, and people like tend to make a lot of fun of him. Like, they shit on him all the time. But Axeman has some like really, really pop-off moments that people forget about, like the Dr. Chaos character, or his excellence when he performs in Whose Line Is It Anyway? His dad jokes are cringe, but I enjoy them just because it's something else that adds to whatever's going on, and people's reactions to it are funny. Like, shut the fuck up, Axeman. Like, he's setting that up, right? And I don't think people appreciate that very much, because everyone's like, oh, Axeman's creepy, loves VTubers. But he does have like those stigmas, I think, are a result of miscommunication, because Axeman does have a lot of like little golden nugget moments that really shine. And I think that's the case for most people. Like even Akiwu, like when she pretends to speak sign language or walks around and like fakes her Australian accent, it's really like those are funny moments that are really enjoyable to watch. And I think most everybody in our lobby has something that makes them unique enough to warrant being there.
But we're here talking about
even if
they have that
not much.
Some people what's their flaws? Like there's any characters you just don't like at all?
Fuck, dude. I don't know. Usually if I don't like something, I'll just ignore it. No, I don't know. I can't think of a single instance of someone who was like particularly annoying to RP with, or like very difficult to work with. Usually if something's annoying to work with, I'll just walk away. I guess I've never been caught in a scene where I didn't feel like I could just leave instantly. Although I don't know if that's garnered me any negative feelings. I'm pretty confident in my ability to like understand where a scene's going. I will say I have gotten annoyed at people before for doing stuff, but it's never been like I can't mesh with this person. It's like, oh, how do I mesh better is what I'll think about. Like when Vibe and Ryan makes a joke about pedophilia, I'll be like, oh wait, stop. Generally that's not the right avenue to take, because when you do that it makes the chat do awkwards, like awkward cat, and that's not going to farm megalols in the way that you're thinking it does. And I was like, okay, so stay away from that topic, and we talked about that, and he was like, oh, okay, so that makes sense to me. It's just a matter of teaching, I think. And then yeah, I know. I'm looking at what you're looking at. Jesus Christ, it's like a gaping maw. It's just in my face, like Sarlacc pet style.
What do you think makes someone like a weaker RPer? Like, what do you think? Like, what do you consider a weak RPer?
Probably lack of experience. I think Vincent is the perfect example of how experience builds like a really solid repertoire. Because when he first came around the lobby, people just thought of him as a creepy guy who harassed women. Like to the degree much more severe than anyone recently. Like there was that guy Roaring Rex who got kicked out of the lobby, right? And everyone was like, oh my god, he's so creepy, he did chloroform RP. But he's just autistic, and he thinks of old cartoons, right? And he wants to like put chloroform because he's a villain, and that's how he, and his like brain thinks to himself, oh, I'm a villain, mash tash twirl, I'm gonna chloroform you. But it came off rapey to people in the lobby, so they're like, all right, let's chuck this guy out of here. He's also like not socially aware and does constant like problems like that, right? But Vincent was worse, like much worse, significantly when he was younger. Like when he first joined the lobby, like women were legitimately uncomfortable to the point where they'd block him, and it was like, okay, this guy is legit creepy, we don't want him in the lobby. To the point where a grandstanding like pillar of the RP community, the best role player at the time in the lobby, Wimchimp, told me straight up, like, you need to unadd this guy, he's weird, he's a harasser of women, like you need to unadd him, like we don't want this guy around. And I was like, I don't think that's true. And I think it's just it's a result of lack of experience and social awkwardness, and that is then magnified by being online and how easy it is to sever a connection with someone. And so it's easier to think of someone as like, oh, this is a malicious, creepy predator, when in actuality, they're just a socially awkward, like maybe slightly autistic person who doesn't understand how human interactions work. And so with Vincent, like everybody loves Vincent now. But that's been a like 2-year process of him growing and changing and hanging out with me every day and, you know, like trying things that work and what doesn't work. And I've slowly shifted him. I don't want to take full credit, but just the people he's hung out with and growing up around people and seeing what works and what doesn't, he's modified his behavior over time and like really grown up. So Vincent doesn't get like, people don't look at Vincent and see a creep anymore. He's like
the Riz God. You know? Yeah. I think there's a lot of things.
Yeah,
with the
so people love Vincent now.
It's like a lot of the new trap people are still trying to find their place.
I think people forget. Yeah, it's all about that. It's like it's all learning. I think people can be bad RPers. Like right now, I think Max Wilso is probably the weakest RPer in our lobby, but that's just because I see him as a similar position to where Vincent was, because he just doesn't have a lot of experience. But he's willing to learn, so who knows? He might end up in a similar vein. Because I've seen him do good things before, and I don't know. I think that's probably the thing, is just a lack of experience is what makes a bad RPer. Because if Vincent can do it, I think literally anybody can.
All right, so we're gonna get a little
I'm
bit
basically
of
a behavioral
question.
correction facility. That's how I would think of myself.
So this one, you know, I reached out to some of your friends. So this comes from someone you like a lot. So what are some of your biggest regrets?
My biggest regrets. I don't know. I have a hard time looking at things as like a regretful action, because usually whatever you do ends up to where you are now, right? So like there are things I certainly do regret, like on a surface level, like some people that I've known in the past, I certainly regret having known them, interacting with them. I don't know if I'll name them just because they're not around. I don't want to stir any old traumas up, but there's certainly like interactions and situations I regret in that regard. But in the same way, if those things hadn't happened, I probably wouldn't be where I am today. I wouldn't have the people I have in my life today. So I guess all my regrets ended up where I am, and I'm not unhappy with where I am. So I couldn't ever truly regret it. Even like fights I've had with these two, I don't regret, because whenever we fight or get into like a argument, we always end up closer afterward. Like I don't think I've ever been in an argument or I've ever hurt them and not ended up closer after we made up. Like I think I've had that experience with the both of you, actually. The obvious one is like the mute shuffle, the 2022 one. I really, really hurt Mango's feelings, like intensely. But you know, that ended up resulting in us becoming closer than ever, you know, like after we talked about it and figured out what went wrong and what could be done better in the future. So I don't know, like so long as you can communicate with people in a like positive, Jesus Christ, in a positive manner. I don't think regrets usually stick around.
All right, that's a good way to think of it. All right, so this one, you know, you are pretty much like a super full-time streamer, where you pretty much are on your stream pretty much from when you wake up,
online,
and immediately on Rob's stream. Like you're pretty much always doing something on a stream or some kind of content.
I know.
So you have a very unique scenario where your job is also where you go to escape with VrChat. Do you find it hard flipping that switch off and just relaxing in VR?
I don't know if I find it hard to relax in VR. I think whenever I'm like with these two, like we have our little dates together, those are like really relaxing because I shut out all other stuff and I just focus on them and we just chill and talk about stuff. I wouldn't say it's necessarily like a disconnection though. That's actually something I've talked about before in private with a few people is I used to, oh my God, dude, Jesus Christ, you see this shit? Oh my Lord. But I remember, I've talked about it before that I don't really have an easy disconnect, because once upon a time, for my first 2 years or so streaming, every single Sunday I'd have pancake day with my mom, where I totally like disconnect from everything, and I would just go to my mom's house, and I would have I cook pancakes and breakfast with her, and we'd watch movies, and we'd like just sleep on the couch together and cuddle up with her pups. And just relax, right? And I'd like have my phone off, and I wouldn't respond to DMs, like complete separation. And I do that every Saturday and Sunday, sometimes one or the other, it just depends. And I come back and stream, or I'd come back and go to DJ night, whatever. And then she moved out of state, earlier this year because I got a really, really big two breast basically donated to me somewhere in the like range of I don't even know, like an insane amount of money. And it was such a big amount of money that I was able to pay off my mom's outstanding debt because
Wow.
she's
I'm good.
she's had for a long time, years and years, since the 2008
damn,
recession.
I'm struggling
just
here.
racked up
Where the
debt
Crumpet is. Fuck.
because she's had to support her whole family, which included me, my little brother, my aunt who has brain fungus and couldn't work for years after the death of my grandparents, which was very expensive for her because she had to support my grandparents both while they were dying. So it was like she's on a single income and supporting like 7 different people, right? And then, you know, she also had a really messy divorce twice. So she just ended up with a lot of like accrued debt to like an insane degree to where she couldn't really afford to do anything.
What do you want me to do?
And you know, Two Breasts, and I'd already been doing pretty well, but Two Breasts donated to me like an insanely large amount of money, like a little over $100,000.
Wow.
And that's like literally life-changing, right? Like a life-changing amount of money. And I spent every single dime of it and a lot of my own money because my mom's outstanding debt was maybe somewhere in the range of just under 200,000, I think. And I was able to pay off every single bit of her debt, which was really exciting. Like that's an insane amount of money. And I not only cleared her entire debt, but I was also able to help her afford to sell her house. And then with the money she made from selling her house,
I have not, Yashai.
she
I have not.
was able to purchase a house out of state, her dream house down in Texas. And then she left. So I was like, fuck, okay, well, I did all this stuff that was like a super good deed, and then I got punished for it. It was like, oh, no good deed, right? Because then I lost my only disconnect from being completely terminally online. And for the last year or so, it's probably why I'm going bald, is all the stress from losing that like outside touching grass moment, you know? So it was I don't regret doing it, Jesus, but it did result in me being completely terminally online. Like I don't have any disconnects at all anymore. I haven't left my house in probably, I don't know. The only time I leave my house is to go to like the occasional meeting, but that's about it. So I'm just like, I'm super terminally online. Like I just don't do anything anymore. And that sucks because I think it does affect you. Like I don't get out in the sun. I don't like exercise. So I've definitely gotten a little more like pale and weak, but I don't know. It's definitely worth it in the long term. And she is interested in the idea of maybe coming back to Colorado. And we have occasionally visited, but you know, it's not the same when, you know, I'm not going over to my mom's house and it's like familiar and sweet and nostalgic. You know, that tradition's kind of dried up. So I don't know. I guess I just need to touch grass because it's definitely been something that's been weighing on me more and more over time. And that's probably where a lot of my recent anger issues have come from. Like I'm a lot more snappy. I don't know if people think it's ego or necessarily like I'm just fed up, but I'm definitely a lot quicker to anger. And I think it's probably because my mom moved away and I'm like super terminal online. So I don't do anything anymore except be online, and that stress doesn't have any release. So it just builds up slowly. And I think I'm pretty decent at managing it, but I do need to find something I can do that's like outside of like streaming and VR and just anything internet related. I need to like find something like that to do.
Outlet.
I really don't know what it is though, because I don't have any like friends here anymore. Like my IRL friends are still around, but you know, one of my friends, he like helps build satellites for Lockheed Martin to blow up poor people in like Muslim countries. So you know, there's like not a lot I can do there, right? So like he's always busy.
Yeah.
And then another one of my friends, he's like in dude, is this therapy? I can stop talking about it.
No,
it's
you're
fine.
good,
I don't want to like.
No. I said like you know this is like a side of you that like most people probably don't get to see, you know, if you are open on your stream.
Yeah, I guess so.
And,
well, I figured that was the point of the interview, but that's like another part of it, right? Where like all my IRL friends have kind of moved on with their lives, so we don't get together anymore. So I'm kind of alone in Colorado, and like the idea of moving to another state is tempting. But the reason I always like try to move on as quickly as possible when someone's like, oh, move to Texas, is because I also can never fathom leaving Colorado, you know, because my dad's here and, you know, I want to take care of him. He's getting older, so I can't leave him. Like, I don't know what would happen to him if I left. And then, you know, my mom, she's getting older too. And she's like planning in the future to come back to Colorado for her retirement. And she's going to sell a house and like downsize and get close to me. And that, you know, that's exciting for the future too. Yeah. But if I leave, then I'm going to end up like not being able to be there for either of them. And I guess they could follow me to Texas, but I don't think that'd be the best for them, like move wise either. So I don't know. Cause they're like all their families here too, like extended and stuff. And I'm not close with those people, but they are. So I don't know. I feel like Colorado is the place where I should be.
Yeah. Okay.
And so I don't want to move out of it. But I guess that's my therapy, like, sad answer.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's perfectly fine. Like you're talking about that kind of stuff. Do you think people have trouble like disconnecting like VRChat and reality? Like some people get, lost in the sauce, as someone would say, or get so into it where they kind of forget like what's real and what's not. And so, do you think that's a problem, or do you think it's a good thing?
I think people in our community do that.
Yeah.
I think it's a super bad thing. I think it can be good if you have a certain level of like maturity. I think, oh my God, it's very pretty. I think, I think like, you have to be a certain level of, not like baby bitch brain, like idiot child to lose yourself in VR and be able to pull back and not have it like affect you hardcore. I think I can do that, but everyone thinks they can do it themselves. I think most of our friends, no offense, have a lot of trouble differentiating what's like healthy to do in VR versus what's like a healthy way to interact with people here. So I think people do lose themselves too much, because VR chat's like the ultimate escapism. One of the reasons I'm here, right? It's so nice to escape. It's definitely dangerous.
All right. So we're about to go do the final level for you, Crumpet. Before that, I'm gonna give y'all like a 1 to 2 minute like water break. If you want to get some water, take a little. This is a miniature little ad break for y'all. Okay, so y'all can drink water and like give the mutes a chance to like chill for a bit. Okay. All right.
Yeah, they have been working pretty hard.
Yeah. Camera's back on.
This fucking controller drift is killing me.
All right. Like I said, we'll probably be doing questions from chat at the very, very end. So, all right. So this is round 5. This is our final round, our final level. Gee,
shit, the spiciest
yes.
yet.
All right, so like I said, some of these questions will be pretty spicy. So I'm trying to get you out of your comfort zone a little bit, Crumpet. It's pretty hard, but all right. So ready for that final bite, the final dab, Crumpet?
I'm so ready.
All right, I'll take this last bite with you. I bite into it. All right. So this one comes straight from Aeriy. What's the most you've ever led someone on?
Ooh, wow. I've let on quite a few people, sadly. Oh man, that is a good question. She knows me well. I've let on quite a few people. I've let on Iron once upon a time. Iron and I flirted for quite a long time, to the degree that we even ERP'd together. This is a little over 2 years ago. Back then, I've always been a big tease, surrounded by big teases in the same vein. But yeah, that ended up going fine. Iron's dumb, so it wasn't a big deal, and we're still friends today, so that was fine. ADC I lead on to this day. I love ADC to death, but I've never been particularly into femininity. So when it comes to like ADC, I think to myself like, oh well, it's fun to flirt, but I don't think it'll ever happen. Maybe it's like a birthday gift one day, I suppose. Yeah, but it's not really something that I ever see really happening. ADC is just a friend. Yeah. So, but I do lead them on a lot, and it's gotten like kind of intense. Sorry, a little bit. Like we flirt a little, but it's always been friendly. I don't think it's ever been like leading somebody on. It's more like just like a very casual, because we both have a similar mindset of it's just fun to flirt. Although that one I'm not worried, because I don't think either of us were like particularly invested. It was just fun to pretend. And then who else? I think I lead on Turtwig a little bit, but I think he also knows it's a joke because I'm very difficult to take serious. That's more recent. Some other people I've led on have been, let's see, maybe Sora a little. I think I've always treated Bradley, Brady, Brandon, Braden, Brosive, whatever the fuck his name is, like vaguely, but I think he just enjoys that dynamic because he has it with you and her, where the two of you are like get him all flummoxed and flabbergasted and flustered, which is fun. It's just like a good dynamic that he enjoys too.
Do you think you've ever like gone a bit too far with it, and someone's like thought it was like real and wanted to make it a serious thing with you?
I've only ever pursued a relationship in VRChat very seriously maybe once. And I wasn't really leading on because I was just as invested, but it lasted for a week. I guess Walter was kind of a lead on. Like I didn't have any just the way I think about relationships, I've always been fairly casual with them. Like once I'm in a relationship, I'm very monogamous and exclusive, to an insane degree. But I also, when I get into a relationship, You actually changed my mind on this. Once upon a time, I was like, why date someone if I'm not going to marry them, right? But I think I maybe switched up with the idea of I can enjoy being with someone for the time that I'm with them to 100%, like dedication, but without like the overhead knowledge that at some point it probably is going to end. And that was kind of what I had with Walter, where I knew at some point it probably was going to end, and it did. But I don't have any negative feelings about it either, because I kind of went in knowing that it wasn't going to last forever, and it only lasted a month. I'm not very good at VR dating. My longest VR dating things are a week and a month, respectively, and neither of them ended well. Well, that's not true. Walter ended well. The week one did not end well, but that was like a long process of flirting that then had a week of like, oh, let's try it out, and then immediately stopped and didn't work. So I don't know. Like, I guess those, but I think it's pretty easy to tell when I'm legitimately interested in somebody. I think I've let on all those people. Maybe I've let on like a couple mutes who like to flirt with the idea that it could get something to happen, but I don't think anything ever actually happens. They're like, it's like a, you know,
yeah, of course.
I'll flirt, but I'm not gonna make like a overwhelming effort. I don't want to name which mutes because some of them are still currently chasing.
All right, so we're gonna ask a couple of lobby questions. You see, your POV on some of the people and things that happen. Okay, so who do you think is the most underrated in the lobby? What's some underrated people in the lobby that think you don't get enough like respect or love?
Underrated people don't get enough love. I think Schmoopy is definitely one. I think Schmoopy is like the most overrated, underrated. He's like the overrated of the underrated because everyone knows that he's talented and good, but because he keeps himself so rare, like everyone loves Schmoopy and knows he's fun and funny, but he also is very rare and kind of self-conscious. So he never quite ever comes out of that. He's like the top of the underrated. Like he's so close to being like Omega Poggers, but he's always been at the top of he's like the most overrated, underrated person I've ever met in the lobby.
One of my
I'd
favorites.
say is the accurate way of saying it.
Do you have
he's
any
an
like
intensely funny
favorites
RPer.
out of the new tryout people that you think are a bit underrated?
Well, Turtwig's doing great. Personally, I think Junbi is like, a lot of people say Junbi slept on, but that is not the case. Junbi is beloved by everyone's chats. I think she's only slept on, or he's already slept on by people in the lobby, actually. I think the chat loves Junbi more than they like Turtwig, personally. But those two are the standouts for sure. In terms of people who are not as big, I think Yorga has just not really had a time to shine. I think he's really funny, but he's like Schmoopy style, where he'll wait for someone to come to him to do the thing that he wants to do. So he'll never take the lead in that. So he's probably pretty underrated. Other lobby people, I don't know. I think all the mutes are actually completely overrated in terms of like the lobby chats. Not to be rude, I think they're super poggers and like talented, but I also think they definitely have outshined the talker half of the tryouts to such a degree that it feels like a little unfair. But I guess that's just the nature of mutes, right? They're really easy to love.
Yeah, I mean, that was my next question is, who do you think is overrated in the lobby? They just gets too much hype that doesn't deserve it.
That's such a spicy question. There's probably a few. Let me think about that for a second on what I could and should say. I think a couple people get a little bit overhyped, but I don't even necessarily think it's wrong either for people to be like overrated, because then it's like a cycle, right? Like people rise up and they're like on a high and then they go on cool down, and it's kind of like whoever the most popular person on camera based on what's going on is right now. Like when like recently the Thursday tryouts, not the tryouts, the Thursday little content wars on Rob's stream have been a really good way for new people to kind of shine and stuff. And I think Port recently is on his up arc because we've been doing a lot of RP related stuff. So Port's been on the up and up, and I'm happy for that because Port's really funny, but he's always been criminally underrated. Dento is another one. People are really on that Dento dick train right now. Everybody loves those two for sure. And I think that's just the nature of it. Like they'll be super up for a while, and then that'll maintain to some degree. And if that's all they do, because then we move into something that's less RP related, that's be how they remembered, right?
It depends on the content at the time.
I don't know. I'm probably overrated, I guess. Like I because I show up every day, I'm remembered for whatever the most recent thing I did was. So I guess what I should do if I wanted to be more like well liked is I'd only show up occasionally and then do something really
make your big moment.
Because I think
yeah.
that's one of the reasons why, like, Shrimp is probably one of the funniest guys I've ever met, but he's also got the status quo down where he'll show up, do an incredibly funny thing one time, and then leave. Like, he's the one bit king. Like, he'll come in, do the funniest thing of the night, and then leave. And so people only ever remember him for being the funniest thing of the night. But I'm sure if he stayed for the whole night and did a bunch of different stuff, people would only remember him for the worst thing he did.
Yeah,
I feel like maybe that's where I'm stuck recently, because I'm there every single day, constantly doing things. So I feel like I'm always remembered for the things that are necessarily like,
oh gosh,
the worst thing that I did that day, right? So I do a lot of different stuff, but it's also, I suffer from overuse, where because I'm there every day, I have to come up with like so many different characters, right? But because I use them so much and I have so many different characters, like when people see the Peepo, it's like funny and hilarious, but they're like, well, Crumpet's done it before, right? Or I'll come in as Nemoidius and it's like, that's funny, but Crumpet's done it before. Or I'll come in as Antler and they'll say, oh, that's funny, but Crumpet's done it before. Or I'll come in as Snape and they'll say, that's funny, but Crumpet's done it before. Or I'll come in as, like, I don't know, a fucking literally Yoda, which is recent, but I've done it before. Or I'll do like a Frozone in the background in the far corner for 2 seconds while Rob's shitting, and it's classic Crumpet. Like, I have more bits than anybody, but I also have been around longer than anyone else. So when I do them, it's something that's been seen before. It's hard to keep coming up with new stuff. So maybe I'm overrated, and that's where I'm trying to like figure out what I should do next.
Well, talking about overrated people in the lobby, this is gonna be a pretty spicy one. All right, so all right, Crumpet, you have to kick 5 active people from the lobby tonight. Who are you kicking?
I have to kick active people?
Yes, active. That's the key
hard.
thing right there. That's the key one right there.
Ooh, so you're asking me who I don't like. All right, let me see if I can think about that. I wish I had a list of lobby people. Hold on, let me pull up the... Let's see. Is there anyone who I legitimately would not be sad to see go if I had to kick someone from the lobby?
It's not even dislike. It's just, maybe the lobby would be, pursue a little bit better, or, you don't think they're adding enough to the lobby for them to stay.
The lobby would be better without them? Oh my gosh.
It's all how you would like to interpret it, Crumpet. This is the final level. This is the final
The only reason I ever kick someone from the lobby is if either I didn't like them or they were like causing issues.
Of course.
All right, I pulled up, let's see. I pulled up the tier list to see. Oh my gosh. Oh my lord, that's tough. This might be a really controversial take, but I think I might say it anyway. This is probably a pretty spicy one. I think, although he doesn't necessarily come by, I actually think it'd make him happier, because a lot of people, I need to build this one up a little bit. I think I would kick Unix from the lobby. But the reason I would kick Unix from the lobby is because I think he's found a better friend group that treats him nicer and appreciates him more in the Elisir and Zanvan group. And I think he's much happier there. And I think a fair separation, like a definitive one, would make him just significantly more happier than having to deal with him trying to help and constantly being shut down. Because this is another controversial take. I actually like Unix a lot. I think he's a very smart guy with good morals and suffers from what I like to call Unix voice, where he comes off as unbearably condescending without meaning to at all. And I think it's really sad because a lot of my friends really dislike him. And some of them have some interpersonal reasons, but I think it's in a similar vein that it's just miscommunication built on miscommunication to such a degree that a lot of people just find him like unbearable. And that really annoys me because I find Unix to be actually a really, really good friend of mine. Like, I really like him a lot. And it sucks to see, like, when he types in VrChat or something and it's a bunch of people who immediately shit on him and it's never been a positive interaction. So I'd probably kick him just so that he wouldn't have to deal with that anymore, and he could have an easy out of saying like, okay, I've been kicked, I can put all this bullshit behind me and hang out with people who are actually my friends and care about me, like Ellie and Zan and that recent group he's been hanging with, like Ruby and Chuck. Like those 5 people, Ruby, Chuck, Unix, and Ellie and Zan, they're like actual good friend group, like appreciate each other and love each other, and I think they'd have a I don't know. I just feel like it'd be better because then he wouldn't have to put up with all the shit that he has to deal with already. Then I'd kick Walter because he's loud.
Okay. All right, you got 3 more.
Sorry, none of my exes survive. Who else could I kick? 3 more? Oh, that's tough. I'd probably kick Sakine. And the reason I do that is I think Sakine has a lot of unfortunate, like, dramatics with certain people in the lobby. And I don't know if those things are still a case, but I think it's another case of she'd probably be happier if she cut her losses and moved on, just as a result of not having to deal with people who like don't like her or have like bad blood in the past. And maybe she'd be able to spread her wings in a different way.
All right, 2 more shots. 2 more shots, Crumpet.
I guess I'd probably kick someone who's active. Fuck, that's tough. Some people aren't active.
Yeah, the active one. That's how I get them, is with the active.
Yeah, that's really good. Fuck, I don't even know if either of those people I named are active, so I might have fucked up there.
Sakine showed up enough, and Walter's a funny answer, so we can leave it in.
That's tough, man.
Trying to get you thinking, trying to make it spicy.
Oh man, that's so tough.
Yeah,
I'm looking at this list of people, and I'm like, I like most of these people and have good interactions, so it's hard to like just
the
pick
thing is, like
somebody.
I said, remember all the trout people are on there
Iron
too.
would be a
So
good answer, but Iron doesn't show up.
remember all
That's so tough.
Yeah. The thing is that the trouts aren't on the list, but yeah, all the trouts are available as well.
I kick out Leroux. I haven't seen him in months, so he's not active. It doesn't count.
Yeah.
Oh my god, how am I supposed to kick out someone who's active?
I saw him
That's so
last
tough.
night doing Andrew Tate RP in a Great Bug.
He's definitely regressed then. Fuck, I don't know. I don't have any idea. I kick out Chris Dawson so he can actually do commissions. That'd be a good one.
All right, 1 final shot, Crumpet. Who is dissipating? All right, 1 final shot. Oh
One more. All right. I guess just Max Wilso. I don't know him very well, so I just I don't know him very well, and I guess I'd kick him out just because I haven't met much of him yet.
All right, so this will be one of my final questions before we go on to the chat questions. All right, so you ready, Crumpet? This one's going to be.
Okay.
This one might be my spiciest one. I don't know. It depends on how you take it. All right, so Rob Rufflegator Maleki goes full-time variety. Never streams VrChat again. Drops the game. The lobby is now under your name. What changes do you make?
Oh my gosh. Well, first thing I do is I'd message Rob and say, why are you going full-time variety? Are you like trying to kill your stream or something? Like, what the hell? When you do variety and you're a VrChat streamer, you suffer somewhere between like 30 to 50% viewer loss. At least that's what it is for me. That's just pretty intense depending on what you're doing.
Hey.
Unless you're Keo, and then you can get the Rob host and you can play whatever you want. That bitch. Fucking Kyle. But I guess for... God, if I had to take over the lobby, I don't know. I probably wouldn't do anything majorly different. Yeah, I don't know. I have a particular hand in a lot of what already happens in the lobby, I'd say, in terms of the stuff we do. But I guess I'd... Would I change anything, realistically?
Like any change for like your Monday stuff, Tuesday
the lobby,
stuff?
If I took over, I would probably try and make the Discord a little more of a central conflux. So I would probably create different channels for like different people's like videos and announcements, and I try to create like a more unified, like singular Discord where everyone's stuff is and it's more easily accessible. I'd also probably have easier avenues for people within the community to maybe like have success streaming. Like I might have I'd probably make the goldengator.tv more prominent overall. Like I'd have everybody in our Golden Gator group on Twitch, I'd have them put the goldengator.tv in like a branding position, like either on their stream or tell them to shout it out at the end of their stream and be like, yo, this will help solidify our community as like a breathing organism more. And then it'll keep people in our community 24 hours a day because someone in here is always streaming. So that'll reinforce people to watch us more. So I'd probably have that be a lot more prominent. I would likely do more events on like other people's streams and stuff, where like stuff like this or like Sora wanted to do an RP lobby. I'd probably encourage that a little more in the sense that I'd want to have different things that would be cornerstones that people could go to on different streams, so they'd have more of a reason to stay in our general sphere rather than going, say, to like I'm gonna go watch Soda play this game, or I could go watch Sora's RP lobby where I'll see all these people that I already see on the main stream, which I guess would be mine at that point. And then they could go like to Sora's stream and watch here. They could come here to watch, you know, Mute Ones, or they could go to whomever's like. And there'd be a lot more branding of like, oh, this person's doing this. I'd also probably create a spreadsheet or like a Google Doc, like calendar form, where people could coordinate their streams to lead into each other, where people in the community could be like, okay, so Lazzie's streaming this time from this time, and then he's going to host this person who's going to do this event with this collaboration. And I'd probably make our like whole group a little more business oriented in the sense of having 24 hours of like content planned between everyone together, where like, oh, I'm doing this show here and you're doing this show here and this event then, and you're going to raid me into here and you're going to raid me into here, and then we'll have like a constant like 24-hour circuit of shows hefted between all our highest content streamers, and all helping each other out. And then, you know, occasionally we'll give people their shot to like rise up and have a time slot in like the main 24-hour circuit on those like under circuits, you know, and then you'd raise that based on like ideas and events and stuff, and it'd probably be a lot more business oriented in that way.
Okay. What do you think you would do with like the RP lobbies? Because, you know, Rob would always, like, he was like the main character, so you'd have to take over that spot. Like, how do you think that would change with you being like the main character and having, you know, people having to follow you around and you be the camera person of the day?
Sustainable distribution. Well, to be frank, I don't like being a camera person. I think Rob does it much better than me. I'm way more self-focused. And I think I am the funniest when I'm on camera rather than filming. I think he's a much better cameraman than me. And I feel like I excel the most when I'm like an on-camera performer. I'm a good director of things, but I don't think I'm a good cameraman. Like, I can tell someone what to do and I know it'll be funny. But if it's like it needs to be like I tend to do what I'm doing around his filming because I know how he films. And so it's a good synergy. If I had to be the cameraman, it'd probably be a lot of growing pains where I had to like figure out what to look at and how people would move around me based on how I move. Because I have a tendency to talk and talk and talk and talk, and I don't stop, as evidenced by this, where I just totally started ignoring you both and just kept talking. Sorry, that's my bad. But yeah, I guess I'd probably be a lot of growing pains on the camera stuff, and it'd likely become more of a... I don't even know if I'd be able to continue doing it necessarily. Like, maybe I'd just have someone else be the cameraman and like do the RP lobbies and host it, and I would just stream within them. Because I don't necessarily know if I'd be a good cameraman. I'm way too much of a talker. Like, I'm better performing on someone else's camera than I am on my own.
All right. Do you think you would like change up like the Wednesday stuff, weekend stuff? Do you think you would start adding events in there, or do more social things, or are you just gonna keep going down that plan you had of like making it like a continuous like business thing?
I don't know if I'd change Wednesdays over much. We've been kind of slipping away from like necessarily scheduled events recently into more of like the hangout stuff, which I enjoy a ton, where it's like, oh, we're gonna do VrChat and then we're gonna hang out and play a variety game at the end on Rob's stream, right? Which is a good format, and I think it's fun. I think co-op games are a blast to play, but don't necessarily do amazing on streams. Realistically, the best things to do on stream are those dating show events where you just bring in a streamer. Then I guess if I had to modify those, if I was in charge, the only thing I'd probably change is I would offer to have our people go to their shows more often, just to like build a more firm bridge and like try to offer them content in return for coming on. Like, I'd be like, yo, you want to have me or Lazzie or whomever come and join you for this or whatever, like if you need someone to do something for you or guide you around VR, like offer some kind of curated experience, either playing just a fun VR game, or because the thing about streamers who come to VrChat is they don't give a fuck about our in-jokes or RP because
of course
it's so like
it's a different world
within our individual group. But when someone comes to VR for the first time, all they want to do is touch an anime girl's head, go to an amusement park, see bright colors and pretty pictures, and like basically just react to that initial thing that everyone goes to when they first get VR, right? They just want to do that and have their chat react to how cool it is. But the only, like, you could pull like the Seer, the Tectone, right, where you get super invested in the community and stuff, and that's Pog, but also not sustainable, as evidenced by the fact that it's never like had someone stick around for more than a couple months. They burn out. So I'd probably try and emphasize more curated experiences where, like, if a streamer starts coming by, I'd be like, yo, why don't we have like a curated experience between some really poggers maps with these really fun people from our lobby who are just going to take you through some games and stuff that your chat can react to, rather than like have them full, and they can do whatever they want. Like, I'm not going to control it. Like, they can super invest, but that, and I'd worry like, oh, they're going to get burnt out, and then it'll be like, Tectone will be like, oh, I fucking hate this game, never seeing it again, or Seer who like never wants to play the game again and moved on. You know, it's like, you don't want people to get so burnt out they only have like they don't look at it as fun anymore. So I guess I'd probably try and offer only like the occasional curated experience and try to keep them otherwise off of the game.
All right. I said, like, those are like very fun answers. Honestly, a lot of that stuff sounds like really good and healthy, and I just wanted to get your POV of, like, you know, what you, because, you know, you've been the second command. I know you say you help with a lot of stuff, and I was just curious about your, you know, like what you have planned. It seems like you have a lot of really good ideas, and like especially that cross promotion stuff could really help out, like not just the growth of the community but the people in it as well. So
yeah, I mean, it'd be cool. Plus it'd be like, if everyone was the only issue I can see with that idea I had of like a 24-hour cycle basically is you never see some people because they'd be on opposite cycles. So the only way to fix that would you have to rearrange the stream times. So for example, like, in order to prevent it, like, for example, like me, Mango, and Aeriy, like, we already have trouble hanging out sometimes because our schedules lead. It goes Mango, me, Aeriy, right? And that's good, but it also creates time periods where, like, oh, I can't hang out with Mango tonight, she's exhausted. Oh, I can't hang out with Aeriy tonight, she's exhausted. Oh, neither of them can hang out with me tonight, I'm exhausted. So the best way to do that would be to switch up the schedules on like a rotating basis, but that can get confusing for the viewer. So it's more like an ideological idea of having like that 24-hour circuit. It would just be so much overhead and organizational stuff, and also rely so much on consistency that it'd probably not be possible unless everyone had like really good incentive. And I think only the people at the top upper levels of our streaming community have like the incentive to put in the effort. Otherwise it's like, well, am I going to put on all this effort for nothing? So it's more like it's kind of just an idealistic thing I was thinking of, but maybe one day it'd be like possible if one of our community members like blew up, like if Fillion had stayed a member of the community, then, oh, controversial take, whoa, bringing up a name, but if she had stayed a part of our community and like all that unfortunate drama hadn't happened, then she would have been like a huge like bring in for so many different people within our community to like work with and grow off of, and like it could have definitely disseminated a lot of new viewers into VrChat. So it's really unfortunate that there was all that stuff. I won't bring it up, it doesn't matter, it's all in the past, but damn. But that's like that's how I think of it, right? Like stuff like that. If there was ever another big blow up, I would hope that we hold on to that person and, you know, they reinvest into the community and the people in it, because I think we have a really good, unique thing that I don't think a lot of other streaming communities have.
All right, so we've been going for almost 2 hours, so I'm going to do chat questions and I'm going to let you guys go. I know I kept you guys for a while. So, all right, so this is the moment of any questions from chat. I'll take one. There's one I had way earlier. Comes from Yashai. It says, why are you gay?
I'm gay because I hate women, not because I love men. Squad W.
All right. So, any other chat questions? Anything you want to learn about Crumpet, the man, the myth, the legend? Let's see. That's a pretty. After you revealed your face, was there any regrets after that, or did you ever think about even doing IRL stuff again?
I am petrified of IRL. I never want to do it again, but I will eventually have to. So yeah, every time I like do a face cam or a face reveal, I always regret it. Even if the stream goes well and people are like, oh, it's so funny, oh my gosh, and I'll just never be able to not regret it. So I'm just like too gun shy for it.
All right,
nice toes.
We got some bigger ones. All right, so you seem like a very humble person in game where people's egos get big in a half a second. How does someone like you who left a big footprint on this game and caused countless people to pick it up stay humble?
well, I'm the most humble person in the world, so it's pretty easy for me. Being so incredibly talented and good at everything and funny, it's just easy to stay humble because you already know how amazing you are. And everyone else knows it too, so why would I need a big ego when I'm so obviously amazing? But I don't know. I don't even know if I'm humble. I think I have some self-confidence issues, and the only reason I'm may appear humble is because I'm a good communicator. I think I do have a little bit of an ego, though. I think I have a fairly healthy ego because I'm not in a lot of ways, I think I'm like Turtwig plus like 3 years, where when I first came to the lobby, I was very much a golden retriever puppy of like, beat me up, push me
I'll
down, do
you
anything
want,
to me. Yeah, and you know, I've kind of like moved a little bit beyond that in the sense just that I don't like if something bothers me, I just won't deal with it. Like I'll just be like, no, I'm not going to do that. And you know, maybe that means I have an ego, but it also means I have a fairly healthy self-respect, right? Like some people have boundaries, and I tend to be pretty open about my boundaries, where I'll just say, this bothers me, don't do it. And I mean, that's definitely the healthier approach, but it also means that someone who might think that it's like, oh my God, you grew such a big ego now that you won't do literally anything. So,
all right.
But I mean,
you're a pretty active streamer as well. How do you avoid burnout? Because you know, sometimes you be rocking them 24 hours, you do super long streams, and stuff. Like, how do you avoid the burnout? You know?
I've definitely experienced burnouts before. I don't know if people can name them, and I won't give them any inclination to when it happens, so you can't identify the signs. But I have definitely gone through burnouts where I've like been like, oh, I don't know if I feel like streaming today, and I'll feel a little like iffy on it. But I think a good way to, well, one, a good way to avoid burnout is trying new things. Yeah. And that always helps when you try something new. Besides that, probably keeping things as fresh as possible, plus reminding yourself occasionally how fucking shitty it is to work as a car detailer.
Yeah.
And that definitely helps cure the burnout to a degree, where I'll be like, you know, I'm kind of annoyed with this and this bothers me, but these problems are really not that big in comparison to me being bent over scrubbing vomit off the bottom of a car seat. So maybe I should just suck it up. And that works most of the time. And then when it gets like a little bit too big, because I'm a fairly emotional Andy, when it gets like too big and the burnout too intense, where I'm just feeling like, oh, I'm not content, I'm not funny, I'm not good enough, blah, blah, blah. When it gets to that point, then that's when you try something new or do something that's kind of like, you know, very classic to you, which is like bread and butter content, which is what I call that. You find something that you can do basically forever on stream that your viewers are generally okay with, and you use that as kind of a buffer period while you build up enough stamina. Something easy that you can do forever, basically. Like for Mango, she can play HOTS all day forever. For Aeriy, I actually don't know what your bread and butter is. You're very like, you do so many different things. I don't know what your like classic default is. Like just giving biology lessons to chat. Something along those lines.
Find something
Being
you
a
love.
cute little cat girl. I mean, that's natural. And then for me, my bread and butter is something that I can do basically forever, is I can sit and talk to chat, like just in VTuber mode. I can do that forever. Or I could do publics, which are like a little more risky, but definitely once I like do them and get in the motion of doing them, I could do them forever. And I'm like, yeah, I could just hop publics all day. So stuff like that helps reduce burnout a ton, is having a bread and butter content item that you can always default to when you're out of ideas.
All right, I'll take a couple more. Here's one. If you commission someone to create your ideal VRChat map, what would it be? What's your ideal VRChat map?
I've commissioned a couple different VRChat maps. I think my ideal VRChat map is the sex doll map that I have of me, Aeriy, and Mingo that I got Snow to make, where the only thing stopping that from being publicly released is I need to add DPS to or TPS now, I guess, the new one. I want to add TPS to my avatar, and then I want Mango to add DPS to her avatar. Aeriy already has some version of DPS on her avatar, and then we just give all of that to Snowbreeze. She'll upload those and then just release it, and then we'll just have a bunch of ourselves as posable sex dolls in this one world. And I think that would be my ideal map.
All right, yeah.
DPS is the advanced version of DPS. The DPS is the old one.
The next generation of virtual fucking. All right. What do you think about your daytime lobby? You've created like your own like little miniature lobby during the daytime when you stream. How do you feel about that little daytime lobby compared to like, I'd say the nighttime lobby with Robs?
It's a lot more of a chill hangout. People just come there to kind of talk to their friends and do little bits occasionally. I wouldn't say that it's like a coordinated or consistent group. There's definitely people that show up fairly consistently. I wouldn't necessarily say that I even meant to create it. It just kind of happened naturally where people show up because I'm probably the, not to brag or anything, toot my own horn, but I think I'm the most consistent person in our whole community. So, like, I don't ever miss anything, and I'm always there. So when people are like, oh, I can go here at this time every single day, they're like, well, I'm not doing anything else. I might as well go to hang out with Crumpet for a bit. I also try to like share my spotlight camera with as many people who come by as possible to like encourage them to come by more, because everybody wants a chance to shine on a stream, right? Like, where else would you come by? So I try to do that, and I think over time it's created a little like group hangout where people are like, oh, I'm around, I might as well go on Crumpets. And then we just kind of surf maps and do little bits. Maybe there's occasionally RP, although not like, it's not like actual RP. It's more like just like funny little scenarios where we play ourselves or mess around with the map and stuff. And that like results in some pretty good times. And sometimes I'll have events. I need to do more of those. I've just been busy with everything else. So. All right. And then my fucking impractical jokers that no one showed up to. Grr, Torchwig.
So I got you next time. All right, here's. Yes. All right. So I was trying to figure out how to word this. Oh gosh, completely lost it now. Oh, so you've done like a lot of stuff with a lot of people. You have connections all over the globe. A lot of Twitch people, like people all over. You've done stuff with. You know, is there anyone you want to like collab with again, or like someone you just would like to collab with that you've never done something with?
I would love to meet and talk to Northern Lion. I think he's like so well spoken and smart. And you know, he really gives me a different vibe from a lot of streamers. And I'd love to like shatter that reality and, you know, meet your heroes and meet someone and then totally shatter my perception and be like, oh, what an asshole. So that'd be super poggers if I ever got to meet him and rub his big bald head like Buddha for good luck. And you know, I'm headed that direction anyway with the baldness. So VrChat degenerate, like terminally online weirdo plus bald adult. And I think that would definitely be an interesting combination because I'm so fucking weird and degenerate and he's so normal and well put together and intelligent. So I think that'd be like a fun interaction.
All right. So I'll ask you this. I asked, you know, I'm trying to ask all my guests. All right. So who do you think who would you like to see on this show next? Who would you like to see on here next to see Aeriy and another mute tease and make fun of and etc.? Who do you think would be fun on this little show?
Who's a good interviewee?
Because a lot of people like have to have like a
personality.
personality.
Interview like
people like who are willing to get
you
in
should
full
probably
body
like front load whoever's just most popular to the like relative chat experience in our community right now. So Turtwig, Junebee, someone who's like even like Port would be good, like Porthonax, because he's recently on an upkick. Dento even. You want to maximize whoever's currently popular. That way people are interested and invested in the interview. So from a business only perspective, I would say Turtwig, Junebee, or Dento, or Porthonax would all be top picks for having on the show because they currently have a lot of hype around them.
Who do you think would give the best reactions? If like anyone could come on here, who do you think would give a good reaction?
Mutes?
Yeah. It's something like Gully, Sureforce, some others said they'd like to come on here, but I think they would not react at all. But they'd be really entertaining.
Yeah,
but I don't know how
I mean,
they'd do with the mutes.
would be funny just in the sense that he'd just yell at the mutes and be totally uninterested in them the whole time, which would be funny. Although I kind of did that too because I got so invested in my answers that I stopped interacting with both of you. Sorry. Really fucked that up. I don't know. Sora would be fun. Sora's really... Oh, yeah. Sora literally melts whenever Aeriy interacts with him, so that'd be a good one to have on. And you guys have a good dynamic. He'd be solid.
Sora was our first episode, so yeah. That was our very first one with Sora, and like that's the kind of reaction I wanted.
That's
is
true.
Like that. The thing is, like, you gave really good answers. So so like cool, like the format. Sora again, bring him back. Just bring him back. Sora, Crumpet, back and forth.
I guess, yeah, I'd do that. Sure. But yeah, I could do... Maybe like Zizix would be funny.
Yeah.
He's got like
if he was back, I would definitely bring him on because he'd be hilarious.
Yeah, he's over in Japan or whatever.
All right,
that's those are who I think of on the top of my head.
Crumpet, I hope you had a good time tonight. That'll be the end of the interview. I hope you had a good time, Crumpet.
Yeah, that was fun.
And Mango, Aeriy, thank you guys so much for being here. Thank you guys so much. I super appreciate y'all. But for real, thank you guys so much. The official second episode. The whole thing will be put on YouTube and stuff later. But yeah, thank you again, Crumpet, for being here. I know you guys all have busy schedules, so I appreciate y'all.
No problem, pussy.